Welcome to the Invernadero Mind Podcast. I am your host, Gabriela, and I'm so happy that you're here. Invernadero is the Spanish for greenhouse. It represents light, life, and a home for bright minds. In this podcast, I discuss hot present topics in today's culture, and our guests share their successes, challenges, and their journey in finding balance between chasing their dreams while protecting their mind and spirit in this fast-paced culture. In this inclusive podcast, we talk to everyone. Stay tuned and let's get the conversation started. Our next guest is a lady who I admire. She is a blogger and a coach who has a passion for teaching women how to live a more sustainable life. Her passion for ethical fashion has allowed her to be featured in Vogue, and I just love reading her pieces. We discuss fast fashion, animal cruelty, her experience traveling and finding ethical alternatives, and much more. Allow me to introduce you to Marine Leclerc from Attitude Organic. Hello, Marine. How are you? Thank you so much for doing this interview. Thank you.
Hey, lovely. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So where exactly are you located right now?
So I am currently in France. I am back at my parents. So that's a very funky story because, COVID and stuff. So I had to go back because I was worried about them.
I love France. I wish I could go there. Right now, I'm kind of stuck in Peru because that's where I am too. I'm from and my family. So, but it's been quite a year. Thank you so much, though, for joining us. So tell us your story. How did you become interested in living a sustainable lifestyle?
I started pretty naturally when I moved to the UK, but quite unconsciously. So it was back in 2013. I just stopped eating meat there. At the beginning, it was completely by taste because honestly, the meat in the UK is not so great.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking into natural skincare, like essential oils. And I think it was because one of my friends introduced me to that. And I started by cleaning my skincare routine. And then I moved in Malaysia for a job. And when I arrived there, I realized that natural products and sustainable living, if I may say, was not on trend there at all. Like you could not even recycle, and that was absolutely crazy. So I started realizing that while I knew what sustainability was about, most people did not. So I decided to create the blog to communicate around that a bit more. And I, at the beginning, also started an ethical marketplace because I wanted people all around the world to be able to buy natural products and sustainable products. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. And the more I was reading about natural skincare, the more I was discovering about sustainable fashion. And from there, I learned about zero waste. And, it was just like learn about the subject and discover a new topic and so on.
In France, how accessible is it, to how much access do you have to natural skincare or just in general, brands that practice sustainability?
So in France, I'd say that it's quite okay right now. It also depends on the city you live in. Like for example, in my hometown, we have almost no vegan option. Here I talk about veganism because to me being vegan and having a plant-based diet is a big part of sustainability. So for example, in my hometown, which is quite big actually, there is only one coffee shop where I can get some soy milk latte, which is crazy. But I'd say that in terms of sustainable fashion, you can order online as well. So it's a lot more accessible. Natural skincare is a big thing. So yeah, I think it really depends on what city in particular you live in and what you look for.
I feel like even though it's 2020, there are still towns where they're not really used to the idea, and there are places that definitely they don't even sell or they don't know, like, oh, what, almond milk, soy milk.
Yeah.
So, for people who are not sure what exactly sustainability is, in your own words, what is it? What does it represent?
Yeah, so sustainability is to me making sure I can enjoy my life while preserving the possibility for the next generation to enjoy their own lives. So it's about not consuming all the resources and destroying the environment so they can enjoy it too. So it has different aspects. And the two main ones are the social impact and the environmental impact of things. So it means that if you look at, for example, sustainable fashion, it's going to be about how you produce and use a garment so it doesn't destroy the environment or it doesn't exploit other people's works in awful conditions.
Somebody once told me that in order to practice sustainability and start questioning these things, you kind of have to start exploring also a little bit of politics, because in general, a lot of people, they want to have access, or they want to start, for example, eating more vegan or plant-based, or supporting companies, brands that are either sustainable or are starting to join the bandwagon. But um, some people think that it's something bigger than that, right? That our impact it's important, but at the same time, the companies that are causing the biggest destruction are probably, big corporations. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that, how we live our lives also has a great, it has equal impact?
I'd say a bit of both. So, I mean, there is no denial that it's political because we need politics to be involved and to help people, to give people the big means they need to be more sustainable. And it's definitely very important that corporations are on board, because I think it's like top 20 companies emit like 35% of greenhouse gas emissions. So it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we can do stuff, but if they don't take part, it's going to be difficult to have a bigger impact. However, what I really dislike about people saying that if it's only politics, what I dislike is that it's disempowering, first of all, because people can do something, and we should never say that that we can't. And then it's easy, to blame politicians and to blame companies just because you don't want to change your own lifestyle. So I'd say, yeah, of course, it's important that the subject and the topic is politics and economical, but you have to deal with your own things first.
I love that, definitely. Because in a way, it seems like, yes, I mean, we have to explore that, but at the same time, it's kind of like relying on them to push for change when we are actually the consumers, and united we set trends. We
Exactly.
definitely change things. So I think definitely our own lifestyle can either improve or make this thing worse.
And you vote with your dollars. So if you think that a company is not doing its job by trying to reduce their carbon footprint or stop um, being involved in free labor scandals, well, you just have to stop buying their products. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's so crazy because even though well, for people that don't know or still haven't really been looking into this sustainability topic, I mean, I feel like you never stop learning, because when I started my own journey, I started just by exploring, recycling and reducing plastic. And then I kind of started exploring other areas such as fast fashion. And it's not just, pollution. It's not just about animal cruelty, animal testing, for instance. It's also about labor, right? And that's something that I had to learn the hard way. And when I learned, I read and learned the statistics and learned the stories of, how people on the other side of the world are being mistreated and not even paid for their labor. It's crazy to me, because this
Yeah.
company are multi-million-dollar companies. So I'm like,
Yeah.
how is this happening?
Yeah, exactly.
So, for people who are not sure or have never heard this term, what exactly is fast fashion and why is it an environmental and ethical problem?
There is so much to say about fast fashion. The way fast fashion started is because historically there were like four fashion seasons, right? And now it's getting faster. It means that I think it's Zara or Mongo, I'm not too sure, who can get like new fashion collections designed and delivered to the stores in less than 2 weeks. So it's like crazy. Every 2 weeks there is a new trend going on, and as a result, people always want more and more new things, and the quality of the garments is worse and worse. And that is allowed because the prices are also a lot lower. So it's a combination of those three factors, the low prices, the fast fashion cycles, and the customers who always want new styles in store. And as a result, it puts a lot of pressure on garment factories. So it means that, for example, they have to produce a lot more for way smaller costs. As a result, people working in the factories are like poorly paid and also work under unsafe conditions. Like, for example, I think it was in 2013 where there was the collapse of Rana Plaza, and that caused more than 1,000 deaths and more than 2,000 people were injured, So it has a huge, huge impact, a huge social impact.
Wow.
And then in terms of the environmental impact, as we ship a lot more clothes, so there is like CO2 emissions, and there is also a lot more waste as a result, because let's face it, if you buy one new piece of clothes per week, you're probably not going to wear most of your clothes, and that's going to end up in being wasted. Yeah. So that's just like, 3 examples of the impact it can have, but it has so many others.
Yeah. And I feel like additionally to that, the fabric that these companies use are probably the least environmental friendly,
Yeah.
So it's like you're paying for more pollution in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really funny that you mentioned fabrics, because, like some of those fast fashion brands try to like start collections with actually sustainable fabrics such as organic cotton, and that's a huge greenwashing going on there. So it's, they try to sell you something they're not.
It's like you can't escape it, really. Even, do you think we can be 100%, sustain or practice 100%, sustainable lifestyle? Do you think that's possible for a regular person?
I don't think it is, just because, as we discussed a bit earlier, politics and corporations are not on board, and at some point we rely on them at a certain level. I also think that it should never be the goal, just because if we start that journey with the idea that we're going to be sustainably perfect, we will never start. It's just going to be too scary, too overwhelming. What really matters is that we start somewhere, that we go one step at a time and enjoy the journey.
What was the most difficult thing to give up? And did you find alternatives for this?
Yeah, so as a good French person, the hardest thing to give up was for me cheese, relating back to my veganism. So I used to love cheese, like it was the basis of my diet. And when I transitioned fully to my vegan lifestyle, I think it was last summer, summer 2019, I was so sad because I could not find any alternative in France. Like I could see all those like sustainable and vegan influencers on Instagram who were having like amazing cheese boards, and all I was left with was those terrible like coconut oil based cheeses who were awful, like disgusting. I really don't like those. But I saw a lot of progress in the past year, and I did manage to find a very good alternative for like blue cheese. I don't know if you like it, but blue cheese browns.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy about that. Even my dad got tricked. He actually did like it, even though he's pretty much anti-veganism. But that was a big, big win.
So, well, that was for me probably the easiest thing, because in general, I am not, first of all, I'm allergic to lactose. So, yeah, so I mean, that wasn't really the hard part in my case, because I would be lying if I said I'm 100% vegan or I'm 100% plant-based diets. But where I'm from Peru, so we eat also a lot of fish. So for me, the hardest part was to give up probably fish and a little bit of chicken, So what I do now is kind of, try to eat plant-based throughout the week. And if I have to kind of, treat me to something on the weekend. But I think I'm starting to get better at it. Before it was a little hard to come up with the specific plan. But now I think it's good. And in general, I've learned that eating plant-based, especially for me, because I love vegetables, I love fruit, has had a great impact on my own health. So that was for me the catalyst. So as far as you shared your journey, your changes, the changes you had to make. Is there something that you still need to improve?
Yeah, I think there is always room for improvement, whether you're at the beginning of your journey or that you think you're an eco warrior. There is always something to improve. And I also think it depends. It changes over your lifetime because it depends on where you live and your family size, for example. At the moment, for me, the biggest problem that I'm trying to solve is that in my hometown, there is no way to compost. So I liaised with the city council and they are working on it. But in the meantime, I'm still trying to figure things out. I found a quick win because I have a shared garden, like 15 minutes walk from my place, and I know I can compost there. The problem is that you have to do it properly, because if you don't do it right, it's going to cause more harm than good because of the methane emissions and so on. So I'm still trying to figure that out.
Wow. So this is what I love, right? And that's the whole reason why I want to interview people that are actually in the process and in their journey towards living a more sustainable lifestyle, because I think that it's important to also highlight the ups and downs, the difficulties, and the easiest things that you are experiencing, because that's the only way that we can actually learn from each other and actually bounce some ideas. Hey, maybe you can do this, or maybe I'll learn this from Marine.
Yeah.
So I've been reading your blog, and I gotta say, I started becoming addicted to it because I love the things you write about. I love the things that you share. And I think there are so many things that I didn't even know that I was like, this is super interesting. So what is a specific category in sustainability that you're passionate about writing?
I really love sustainable fashion, just because I have a very love and hate relationship with fashion. It's just so funny because I wanted to work in fashion my whole life. So I started my career in the fashion industry in London. And then I realized that maybe fashion was just a very dirty industry when I started writing about sustainability. So I pretty much become pretty minimal, spending my life in just like old clothes and didn't really care about my style. And then I was like, you know what? It's still important and it's still empowering. And you know what? I'm going to get back to it. So it's like, a bit of love, a bit of hate. And I think it really reflects the problem we have in society with fashion, where fashion used to be an art and it used to be a way to fit in, but also to express your own personality. But right now with fast fashion, we just all look the same and don't even know where our clothes come from. So yeah, it's a good reflection of like also the like capitalists and overconsumption that is going on right now. You need more, and you care less about the thing you actually have. So yeah, it's a good reflection of that. And I also think it's a very exciting area because there are so many options. Like, do you want to shop secondhand? Do you want to look for ethical brands? Do you want to upcycle your clothes? Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of innovation as well. So for those two reasons, I really like that topic.
Where do you get your clothes from? Where, for example, where you live right now, are there a lot of thrifting stores, or do you have to buy online? Where do you get it from?
So actually, at the moment, as I'm back to my childhood house, I rediscover some of the old clothes I had left there because I've been traveling for so long. Like, I left France in 2013, and since then, my clothes were just in boxes at my parents' home. At the moment, I don't buy anything. I don't plan on buying anything, and I'm just rediscovering the pieces I had ages ago, and that makes me so happy because it's like all piece as its own story. Like, it's very nostalgic and it's not out of trend somehow. So I'm really enjoying what I already have. Other than that, I have not bought anything new in more than a year, and the last thing I bought was actually like velvet dress secondhand, but unfortunately that thrift store in my hometown closed, which is really upsetting.
I love thrift stores. I love going in there and just looking, because I think there are some valuable pieces that people just get rid of, and they're so trendy and unique, because I like wearing things that are not out there and people are everybody wearing them. So that's one negative about fast fashion. Definitely that's something that pushes me to go out of my way and look for more alternatives, because I don't like, that, everybody's kind of like following the same thing. I like to kind of, do my own thing. Yeah. So did you ever experience criticism from family members, friends, for being outspoken about your cause or for changing your lifestyle?
Yep. Yeah, a lot, especially when I became vegan. So my dad was really critical about that. And, when you would be at home and have dinner and you would not saying anything to anyone, you just have your delicious, nutritious, plant-based meal in front of you, and that's your dad starts complaining because you don't eat meat. And you're like, what the hell? Like, I'm not even saying anything to you. You can eat your own meat. I have my own plate. Why is that a problem? And that was really a pain because it was just a source of conflict. But I think I just stopped being activist about it. I actually did write a blog post about that, explaining why being so, maybe sometimes so pushy and outspoken was not serving the cause. Sometimes when you're just too conflictual, people are not listening to you, so there is no point. So what matters is that you lead by example. The situation at home right now is a lot better. Like, my mom is almost vegetarian, so it's a big win for me. And my dad is somehow a lot more open-minded. He doesn't eat meat anymore at every single meal. So yeah, I think that leading by example and just being calm and explain things only in a very positive way when you are asked was really helpful.
It's so important what you say about leading by example, because I feel like sometimes you can be passionate about something, but it can come off as being pushy or somebody who is criticizing everybody, And I was interviewing another person for this specific segment. She said something like that too. In the end, we're all kind of a little bit of hypocrites because, you can't be 100% sustainable, right? You can't just, 100% not leave any type of footprint, Mm-hmm. So I think that what you said is so important, that instead, rather than just, pushing, telling everybody do this, do that. I feel like leading by example is probably the best thing, the best approach to things. And that's why I really love your content, because you really show us what you're doing, what you're eating, what you're doing to do, to improve this area of your life. So that's really good. Now,
yeah.
Some people tend to have the misconception that living a sustainable lifestyle is kind of like limiting, or it's for hippies, it's boring, it's impossible to do, right? How do you feel about these terms? Do you identify with any of them?
Maybe identify a bit about the hippie term. That said, they're all very negative, so I'm going to say no. But the thing is, like, I understand where people come from when they use those terms. I really do. I think the issue is that society formatted us, brainwashed us in such a way that we think that we need to buy our way to happiness, while it's not the case at all. So, I really have that that deep belief that when we use those terms, we focus on everything we lose, like all the gadgets you can't buy, all the last fast fashion items you can't buy. But I really think that we gain a lot more than we lose, because when you adopt a sustainable lifestyle, you really slow down. You take time to reconnect with your environment, you reconnect with people around you. And I think it's really important to have that mindset shift. And that's what I try to teach my community and what I teach my clients, that first, you have to do that mindset shifts. It's not only about the sustainable strategies to reduce your waste. It's a lot about how you approach those concepts.
I love that. What is something alarming most people don't know or probably should know about the way our planet is changing right now?
So I actually think that's not going to be a very popular answer, but I actually think that people do know enough. Scientists have been shouting out about global warming for more than 30 years now. So I think what's important now is not the science background. It's actually an ethical decision that every one of us has to make. I think it gets back to what we were saying a bit earlier. It's all about empowering people to make actions. Mm-hmm. To actually start and to be responsible, because instead of blaming others, we can decide to take action. I know that there is a lot of debate around overpopulation at the moment, that we are really concerned about the fact that we're going to be almost 10 billion pretty soon, and that there is not enough food for everyone.
Wow.
And I don't think it's true. I think that if everyone, I actually don't know that it's not true. And if everyone review and reframe and decide to change, there is enough for everyone. And yeah, it's in our hands. We just need to start. And okay, yeah, actually, I think that's where people should learn a bit. It's about that climate justice and that social justice.
What are your thoughts on the cosmetics industry?
Yeah, so I think that's a very nasty industry. Mm. So I was reading an article the other day about the sustainable plan for L'Oréal. And they had very good idea, about composition, about packaging and stuff. But at the end of the day, you can claim how sustainable you are if you bet on. I'm going to speak about women because I think women are the main population, as the main target of the industry, right? As long as you bet on women insecurities to make them buy products, you will never be sustainable. At least it's my opinion. If you really want people to to be sustainable, you should want people to consume less of your products, because obviously that has an impact, environmental impact.
Yeah.
And let's face it, like if they don't empower women, if they don't say to women that they are beautiful just the way they are, they'll never be sustainable.
And that's what I kind of don't like about this whole sustainability trend, because there are people who are doing it for the right reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your cause is the most important thing for you. But I noticed that also on Instagram, there are, influencers, there are brands who are all, because the trend right now is being plant-based or vegan or, going zero waste. They're all joining on this trend, but because of the popularity of it, not because they actually in their hearts feel that this is a cause, an important thing to explore. And I noticed that a lot of companies, L'Oreal, Maybelline, and H&M, they're all going, they're all practicing or, starting these sustainable programs. But I'm like, all right, if you want to be sustainable, you want to produce more or less, not, induce your or push your consumers to buy more or, coming up with new lines, right? So it's a little bit hypocritical for me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as long as the bottom line is to make like pure profit, it's always going to be tough to be sustainable unless sustainability is at the core of your business model. And that's the issue with like big corporations. I mean, even if they had the best intentions in the world, which I doubt, but let's pretend, it's going to be really hard and long for them to change their business model. So they can change like all the little things around the business model, like go for organic cotton or reduce packaging. But it's going to take a lot more time to change those core values. And so it's pretty simple. It just either the customer agree and is aware that it's going to take time and keep supporting them, or they shut down.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And, I think definitely it's going to be a long journey, because it already took a long time to push companies to stop testing on animals, which is also another thing that, in the past 5 years, I really started learning and educating myself about it, because before I was, kind of like a skincare makeup junkie and I would buy everything. But the more I learned, because I have pets, I have a rabbit. So the more I learned about animal testing, it was probably one of those things that opened my eyes, and I got upset about it at the beginning. And then I was like, all right, I got to do something about it, right? Either change the way I shop and advocate and kind of share the message, or just stay quiet and pretend that nothing's happening, which is what a lot of people tend to do. They just think that, oh, my voice doesn't matter, or what I do probably won't have any impact on this planet, so I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. But I think that if we all got together and actually started pushing for change, companies listen, because they care about their profit. So now with the whole cruelty-free thing, I mean, a lot of brands are slowly starting to kind of change the way they experiment or test their products. But it's been slow. So I can only imagine, sustainability is going to be quite a journey for a lot of companies. So tell us a little bit about your current projects. First of all, I wanted to ask you, how did you get featured in Vogue?
Well, actually, that was so random, I didn't ask for anything. So I was just checking some like back-end stuff on the blog some days, and I realized that there was that blog post on Vogue that was quoting my own words, and I was like, oh my God. So that was just so unexpected. It just made my day. Actually, I celebrated that for a week.
Yeah. I heard Vogue magazine is starting to implement a sustainability program, I guess, or a section where a segment where they write and talk about it. So that's really good. I mean, the fact that magazines are starting to get on board on this, so that's pretty cool that you got featured. I mean, for them to write about you or your works, I feel like people are watching, and that's the bigger message I think that you should take on this. All right. So, if you had the power, and this is a question that I wrote, and I like to ask everybody. If you had the power to change one thing to help the planet, what would it be?
Okay, so I'm going to refer to what's happening in France. So I don't know how it is in the other countries, but I know that's what's happening here. So in France, we used to have that mandatory military service, right? So it used to be like 2 years, then 1 year, and now it's 1 day only, but still. And what I'd love to see happening is that instead of just having that day to talk about like military or weird stuff, that people should be sent abroad as like traveling. So I know that's going to be a bit funky because there is a lot of arguments in the sustainability niche against traveling because of the CO2 emissions. Mm-hmm. But if everyone has to spend like 1 year or even 1 week abroad, but fully immersed in a different culture where they get to discover like new landscapes and new people and really, not like mass traveling, but really being here and there with people, that would change a lot. Because to me, traveling opens your minds. It makes you feel connected, as we are all connected. And it's a lot harder to realize that I think that one of the big things in sustainability is about, as we said, the social impact of things. It's a bit hard to empathize with a culture or with people you never met. So you don't realize that what you do in your corner of the world has an impact in the Bahamas, for example, because of tornadoes and stuff. So if we all get a chance to meet other people from different culture, we can all empathize and bring home new resolutions and new good intentions about the way we behave in our daily life.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like importing good ideas and copying what places are doing. Definitely. There are definitely a lot of places that you discover through traveling that, these little cute towns that are already implementing a more sustainable lifestyle. They are not consuming a lot of electricity, but rather using, the sun, right? Our most basic form of energy, to kind of power their cities, their towns. So I think that through traveling, you can learn a lot and kind of bring those ideas onto your own hometowns and cities. Because for example, where I'm from Peru, and I live in my family lives in a small city called Cusco. And I like this city, for example, has a huge potential to practice, sustainability. The hometown itself, the town itself is, suitable for all climates. Sun hits every single day hard. Like there's no reason we should all be consuming, electricity from another source. So it's like, I feel like through traveling, through seeing other places, through education, I feel like little by little towns could start joining, getting on board.
Yeah.
Now, what recommendations would you give somebody who wishes to start practicing a more sustainable lifestyle? For example, reducing waste or going vegan, going cruelty-free. What would you say?
So I would say whatever you choose, first of all, choose something you really like. So I started with skincare and to clean that up and go for zero waste bathroom items because I liked skincare. So choose something you're going to have fun with, otherwise you will never start. And then start small. Like, don't plan to change every single item in your house. That's not going to work out. That's going to be overwhelming. So just pick one thing. I don't know, like maybe do meatless Monday, instead of wanting to be vegan and then stop buying fast fashion. No. Just pick one thing, nail that thing, and then go for the next one. And then once you start and gain that momentum, just go one step at a time, right? Just set up like a small goal, nail it, go for another small one, and so on and so on. And one last thing would be don't do it alone, because that's going to be frustrating. There are going to be days where you're going to want to complain to someone just because, we're human beings. And it's a lot more fun to either have a role model or just a friend on that journey with you.
I love that. Thank you. So what's next for you? You're going to continue writing your blog? Are you planning on doing a different format, working on a different format, or your blog is pretty much what you're going to be focusing on?
No, so there is something brand new coming. So I'm going to keep working on the blog because I want people to have access to that knowledge. Right. And I think it's very important. But I'm just launching my one-to-one coaching program. So I'm going to open the doors to help people become more sustainable because, there is all that knowledge available. And after discussing with people from my community and from my friends and family circles, I realized that people need more than knowledge. They really need someone to show them the way, to hold their hands, and to make them accountable. So I really want to be that person. Like, I like to see myself as an eco mama, I draw the plan, I hold hands, and we smash those goals together. And it can be a rough journey. It's a long one, at least. So it's important to still enjoy it and to make it fun, right? To make it sustainable and work for you. Because it's not only sustainable for the environment, it must be sustainable for you so you can really implement it. And I think that's where there is work to do. How do you make that work for you? And I do believe that it's better to be guided. So yeah, that's what's happening for me.
Awesome. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see you going onto this new journey. Awesome. Thank you so much, Marine. Thank you for your time. And, I hope that in the future I can interview you again and tell me about your new projects and probably talk to you a little bit in French because I'm currently taking classes, but I'm so in my,
that would be amazing.
French 101 right now. So I am in no position to have a full conversation.
Well, maybe next time we can also do it in Spanish because I know some Spanish.
Thank you for listening to this episode. You liked what you heard? Tell me what you liked in the review section. And if you want more episodes like this, please share your suggestions. After this episode, the conversation continues in our new Facebook group. The question of the day is, what places do you recommend for thrift shopping in your area? Let me know by joining us at the Invernadero Mind Facebook group and share your thoughts. I can't wait to see you there.